Holly Pesci, and this is Barnes & Noble Tagged. I love books, so you can imagine how thrilled I am to be hosting a show where I get to share with you the latest and greatest from the world of books, some DVDs and CDs too. This year, we've tagged hundreds of books, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 tags of 2008. Maybe they're on your list as well. And there's been quite a variety of books to choose from. There's been riveting nonfiction like Augustin Burroughs' A Wolf at the Table, fabulous fiction like Junot Diaz's Pulitzer Prize-winning The Brief, Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, and a few books that defy definition. I mean, who can forget Skulls by Noah Scalin? And starting off my top 10 list, we've had a few flavorful tags that have fed the body as well as the soul. From books featuring Sandra Lee's semi-homemade recipes to the wines of Gary Vaynerchuk. But I must say, my constant companion for the last few weeks comes in at number 10, and it is Martha Stewart's Cooking School. It's packed with recipes, pictures, and techniques to help every level of aspiring cook. Next, I had never read this author before, but once you sink your teeth into one of her books, you're hooked. Coming in at number 9, the divine Stephenie Meyer and Breaking Dawn. It's the fourth in the super popular Twilight series, in which readers learn, does she or doesn't Bella Swan become a vampire? There is always a world of good music being released, but if you're like me and have no idea what note to start on, then you'll enjoy my number 8 pick, Tom Moon's 1,000 Recordings to Hear Before You Die. A lot of authors bared their souls in books this year. Barbara Walters with Audition, and the wonderful memoir by Isabel Allende, The Sum of Our Days. But the book I slot as my number 7 choice is When You Are Engulfed in Flames, the fourth memoir from best-selling comedic essayist David Sedaris. You know how a recurring character in a book can become a friend? Well, it was great to get reacquainted with one of my favorite characters. In my number 6 choice, it is Scarpetta by Patricia Cornwell. This time, investigator Kay Scarpetta is in New York, cracking open cadavers and chasing the bad guys. Holding on at number 5 is Hold Tight by Harlan Coben, his very current take on the dangers of raising a child in the age of cyberspace. Next, a book that is about as thought-provoking as they can get. Slipping in at number 4 is Outliers, the Story of Success by Malcolm Gladwell. The author of The Tipping Point and Blink shares what he knows about success.
An outlier is someone who lies outside of everyday experience. So it's people who are special, exceptional, unusual, and this book is devoted to telling their stories.
This next book started with me and then spent weeks being passed from family to friend to family until eventually I grabbed it back. So I can safely say that I am not the only one who believes this web of intrigue belongs in the top 10. So grabbing the number 3 spot is Moscow Rules by Daniel Silva. It is Silva's 10th novel of international espionage and intrigue, starring, as always, the clever and charming Gabriel Allon.
What I think is really special about him is that he has 2 very distinct sides. One is that, very frankly, he was an assassin for the State of Israel, but he's also one of the world's finest art restorers. And the novels have this very different sides to them.
This next author based her lead character on a well-known woman, and I was so captivated by the story that I often found myself unable to separate the fiction from the factual life. A real treat at number 2 is American Wife by Curtis Sittenfeld. It has been called a fictionalized version of Laura Bush's path to the White House. True or not, it makes for a great story. With so many wonderful books, it's very difficult to single out one as the best. But there was one that pretty much took over my life. I started reading it on the subway on my way home from shooting Tagged. I read it during my daughter's ballet lesson. I read it during dinner and then ultimately stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning to finish it. The book that is number 1 on my list for 2008 is Chris BOHJALIAN's Skeletons at the Feast. BOHJALIAN drew on an unpublished World War II diary to create a heartfelt story of an unlikely group of refugees who must work together to survive their exodus. It's been a great year at Barnes & Noble Tagged. I can't wait to dive into 2009 and see what the year in books will bring. Keep watching, and we'll keep bringing you the best books we can find. See you next time on Barnes & Noble Tagged.